Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the tube, on the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped. Already knowing this would happen, Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yahusha forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them. So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answers the things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalakim, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away in my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever abiding, he living? Came to Anashim and Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yahusha forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the tube, on the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All through the dip, he took Rolly, was absent. His foot never slipped, already knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yahusha forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them. So I treat my life like it's me. What what I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalateen, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gonna weigh on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? Getting the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, shit for suck it all. Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sick on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the tooth. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone in the mansion. All us through the dip. He took Rolly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this what happened. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might want to fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sick on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. Book to make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them. So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalateen, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gonna weigh on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? Getting the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sick on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All the students did. He took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life is up to spare. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsook it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like a seed. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing the Shalakim, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's thrown away on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever abiding, he living? In the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsook it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All through the dip, he took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic, just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life is ever spared. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in? He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answers the things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text, look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalakim, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had, he couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall, so that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses, carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever abiding, he living? Came to Anashim and Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in? He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All through the dip, he took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic, just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life is ever spared. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand, just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in? He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Charlatan, you know him as the apostles who's willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gonna weigh on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? King the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, shit took it all. Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone in the mansion. All us through the dip. He took Rolly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this what happened. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might want to fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Charlatan, you know him as the apostles who's willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gonna weigh on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? King the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All us through the dip. He took Rolly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this what happened. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we can sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsook it all? Just to be called a band, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like a seat. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing the Shalakim, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away in my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever bodily living? Came to Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsook it all? Just to be called a band, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All us through the dip, he took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic, just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in? He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like a seed. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answers the things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalakim, you know him as the apostles who's willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gonna weigh on my life. I'm exercising my senses, carrying a rock. I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? In the Anashim and Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in? He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the tube, on the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All us through the dip, he took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic, just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsook it all just to be called a bin, just to go make it in? He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like a seed. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalakim, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? Came to Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, Shifra took it all, just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sick on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All the students did. He took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life is up to spare. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might want to fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sick on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like a seed. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalakim, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever body he living? Came to Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, Shifra took it all, just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sick on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All us through the dip. He took Rolly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this what happened. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to a life that's up to spare. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we can sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might want to fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yahusha forsook it all just to be called a Ben, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them. So I treat my life like it's see what I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answers the things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text, look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalakim, you know him as the apostles who's willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my ahab and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever bodily living? Came to Anashim and Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yahusha forsook it all just to be called a Ben, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All through the dip, he took Rollie, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this what happened. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to one life except the span. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might want to fear that's the innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it take to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them. So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag, I know there's levels and steps. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a Shalateen, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses, carrying a rock. I set aside with his senses. How you think Mashiach forever by then he living? Getting the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the two. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was all but fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All through the dip, he took Rollie, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this what happened. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to one life except the span. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might want to fear that's the innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yo, who should forsake it all? Just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man to sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and not confess and go turn and reject them. So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag. I know there's levels of sex. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a charlatan, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever fighting he living? In the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yahushua took it all, just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all? So can I forsake it all?
Yahudi, Yahudi, Yahudi.
YG. Mr. Yahuwah, look at what all you done. Gave us a part of you when you offered up your son. Put him up on the tooth. On the cross is where we hung. I kept him up there until the job was done. And it was almost fun. I can only imagine how it feels to be stripped, left alone and abandoned. All the students did. He took Broly, was absent. His foot never slipped already, knowing this would happen. Brody, it was tragic. Just know I can't compare. No, my childhood stories to what life except despair. He suffered through the pain, had to fight through the tears. So we could sit up high on the right of the chair. So you might wanna fear that's an innocent man that your forefathers killed. Blood still upon their hand. Just know all judgment was given to the Lamb. He gave up everything just to pick it up again. Yahushua took it all, just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all? The life that I live, my wife and my kids, just to be called a friend. So can I forsake it all? The car and the chain, the stardom and the fame, what it takes to be saved. So can I forsake it all? Consider me a sturdy brethren, but at times I go look at my earthly possessions. What can make me curse and I confess and go turn and reject them? So I treat my life like it's me. What I got, can I leave it in 30 seconds? Or even less, whatever that I possess. I know that my salvation ain't measured off my success. So I wanna get to the bag. I know there's levels of sex. If money answering things, I'm getting ready to test. I'm researching the text. Look at those I can model. Seeing a charlatan, you know them as the apostles who willing to give up all everything to go and follow. Not like that rich nigga that's over at Matthew Yahoo, cause that's what ain't the bad. He attached to what he had. He couldn't forsake it all. He wasn't gonna make it fall. So that's why I am careful on where I place my heart and put away all things that's gone away on my life. I'm exercising my senses. Carrying a rock, I set aside with a senseless. How you think Mashiach forever fighting he living? In the Anashim, Shamayim, he left behind his riches. Yahushua took it all, just to be called a bin, just to go make it in. He took it all on the chin. He had to forsake it all. His thoughts and his plans, his will as a man is sit on the right hand. So can I forsake it all?
I was about to say, who died? Everybody looking down, reading the obituary. God. Goodness. Wayne, you might have to give us something, man. Tomorrow, goodness gracious, man. All right, man. Just don't tell Tony. I'm sorry. I get that for Joanna. Because every time she on Two Mics in the Mind, she say, Tony, I feel like, why is she calling me Tony? I said, I feel so bad myself. You know what I'm saying? I be like, yeah, Tony. I said, that girl disrespectful, man. I mean, that's hard. It's hard, you know what I'm saying? Joanna, where's she at? She ain't here. Joanna, ain't nothing wrong with it. We don't Too Much in the Mind. But I'm saying, when you do it, I'll be like, dang, I want to say Tony so bad, but I think I'm going to get a whooping, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, when do you, I have never got across to where I can call, how many people call their mama by their first name? Anybody here call their, Keisha do? Like, call your mama the first name? Be like, Alice. I'll be like, you go to your friend's house and they say, you know, Alice. I said, dang, your mama let you call her by her first name? Yeah. I said, boy, listen, boy. I ain't even know my mama had a first name until I was like 10, 11 or something. That's crazy. You said what, Keisha? You was raised by your grandma. But see, that's normally how it is. If you raised by your grandmama, you'll call your mama by her first name. And that is normally how it goes. It still ain't like that. You don't do that. You was raised by your grandma. Uh-huh. Mommy. Yeah. Yeah, I just can't call my mama Alice. I just can't do it. Alice, you cooking? You cooking? You really? You serious? Even my aunties, I have to call them auntie. You know auntie, do you? You know my Aunt Mary, my Aunt Janie, my Aunt Vera. Come on, Vera. Man, they ain't even gonna answer you. The whole house gonna turn around and say, you probably get a whooping right now. Yeah, it wasn't like that. Yeah, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And you know what? I think I was part of the generation. I was never that close to my grandparents. I think my daddy was so older. So my grandparents, at that time, they were just, no offense, they was just old. So every time I came in, I was like, hey, grandpa, like, hey. You never really had a conversation, you know? And I really would like to have a conversation with my grandparents, but they were so old, they was like, all right, go on there, boy. You doing all right? I'm like, yeah, all right. So I used to sit on the porch, just watch Papa. He drink his beer. You know, he have his cigarettes. You know, and I reach down and grab the beer when he gone. Oh, am I the only one? No. All right, now. That's some nasty stuff, boy. You said what? Beer has no taste. Look at my wife. That joke over there, man. Corona? You Jamaican, man. Oh, Red Stripe. Oh, you like Heineken. Michelob. Man, one of y'all say, if one of y'all say that Blue Bull, you remember that Blue Bull? That Blue Bull, boy, that thing probably was like 25 cents, boy. 2.11. Oh, boy. But no, it was a good old day, you know. A lot of times growing up with older people now, you know, my kids get to see their grandmother and their grandfather and grow. I ain't never get that, boy. And I used to get in trouble because I wasn't eating over everybody's house. If you ain't had no air conditioning, I just felt like something was wrong with your food. Yeah, I was a very picky child. So every time I go over to a family house, I always have to ask the question. I was that one, who cooked this? Who cooked that? Who cooked that? Boy, shut up and eat. I was like, well, I just ain't gonna eat then. McDonald's has always had my back. As always. Y'all all right though? Yes, sir. I'm glad to be alive. Shout out to all our out-of-town members, all our members across the country. Right now in Cubalon, right now it is 4 hours ahead of time in what they call Africa. So Ghana, place. Who else? We got Liz. Where's she at? Dominica. St. Martin. St. Martin. Yeah, one day we shall all be overseas. See, now, what is happening right now, our leadership is going over the globe. He's going everywhere. He searches out places for us to go. So that's what's happening right now. So we have to let him go, find out, and he realized everything what America has told us has been lies. Because they tell you go to Mexico, you're going to get kidnapped. They tell you go to Jamaica, and you reach for something, they're going to chop your head off all with a machete. Now, Haiti is true. Listen, don't go to Haiti, man. No. I'm telling you. You go over there, boy, they got to get you for ransom. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they getting you. Can you imagine getting kidnapped until you depend on somebody in America to send over $30,000 worth of Bitcoin? Boy, listen, my family be like, boy, write that boy obituary. Can you imagine being kidnapped? Who you gonna call to say, hey man, I need 30,000 in Bitcoin? Where you at, bruh? Man, I'm in Haiti. Where you want me to send it to? I'm finna send you the address. All right. How your family doing? I said, man, I don't know, they doing good. All right, bro, you know what? As soon as I get out of work, anybody tell you this? As soon as I do something, it's over. As soon as listen, they ain't doing it. As soon as I get out of work, I'm finna hit you. As soon as I go around the corner and drop them off, I got you. As soon as it's over, man. Go ahead and join with them. Say, hey, look, bro, I know somebody else we can get. They got 60. If you help me get them, you gonna get your money for me and for D. That's how we gonna do it. Do y'all have somebody to call for $30,000? Everybody can't call Raw. That's only be two people. Two people quick. Now you gotta find somebody else you can call. 30 grand, Bitcoin. Oh, you got somebody, Princess? Princess, you got a few people. This is my grandma. That ain't good, Princess. You're supposed to struggle with us. Oh, Princess said she is struggling with us. You know what that means? She said she'd call her grandma right now. And her grandma could send 10,000 liters or somebody. Goodness, boy. Hold on, Princess. Hold on. I don't know what they're going to. She said she could call somebody right now. That's right. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. At this time, without further ado, we'll go ahead and, what Bryce said? Oh, he got, all right, yeah. You know, when Deacon Bryce over there, we got to keep time because he for your vote, like, brother preaching too long, man. I just got up here, man. You were doing good. Man. You hit that last scripture, or hit the beam, whatever you want to call it, brother. It's too late. At this time, we'll blow the shofar. Good job, Jay. Hey, Jay, you should have saw Chanel. Come on, honey. She was like this. Come on, honey. Oh, man, Chanel, you're a good one. At this time, we're going to call off our own Sharaf Justin to bring forth the Lacam. Give it up for Sharaf Justin. Yeah!
Football players, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why, y'all hear me? I did not hang around football players in high school. That's exactly why right there. Basketball players stay on this side. Football players in the hallway, we walk this way because they're going to get rough. Well, good game tonight. Yeah, you know. That's what they do. But definitely, man, I sounded Terrell last time. I said, man, it's been a while. Everything came out so perfect. And I was back there practicing, and anyone who's blew it before, you realize the scary thing is when you get up there to blow it, you really don't know how it's going to come out. It don't matter how much you practice. At this point, it's like, I really don't know what's going to happen. That's a pure example. I just came out. I don't know who I saw, and I got real nervous. I don't know who it was. When I picked the horn up, and I said, oh, man. I got nervous. I said, in my mind, this ain't going to come out right, and it didn't. But we press on through. We blow this Teruah with my voice, most high willing to be a Barak. But appreciate that, boss. I got to get my mind right. Ooh, he knocked me silly. But how's everyone doing tonight? All right? All right. I appreciate it. All right. Friday night, I was assuming I was going to get a mega conference part 2, but Uncle Bostic's here. No offense, I have you, Sheriff Bostic. But last time they went, me and a couple of sheriffs and Sons of Thunder, we knew it was going to be a party time. And if y'all ever had been in a situation where your parents go out of town and leave you behind, you know how it's going down. You know we're about to party. Yes, you know, we're going to do some things and say some things. We're going to get loose with it. Yes, and so preacher said, I'm going back out. And I said, well, I know I ain't got the money. So really the last power trip, I said, I'm not going nowhere. Like, I'm staying here. And I was on the phone. I said, who's all going? I'm trying to figure out who's all going. He said, yeah. He named the people. I'm just waiting. I'm saying, okay, I ain't hear Sheriff Bostic's name. He said, yeah, Sheriff Bostic, he ain't going. And I was like, oh. And so equivalent is we basically leave an uncle there with you. You know, it's like your parents saying, yeah, you can stay home. Uncle's going to stay with you, keep you in line. It's kind of like, okay, all right, Uncle's cool. You know, you can get away with a little stuff, but Uncle at some point got to say, hey, you know, we can't do everything, you know. So you know, mega conference been postponed, but I appreciate the man. He's been great, man. And I always tell him he's one of the smartest people I know. Every time we talk on a serious note, I say, you're a smart guy, man. He's a very, very smart man. I don't know how he's in every place at once. I mean, his wife, I'm sure he's everywhere. I don't know how he has that many stuff going on. One time he came, and this is no exaggeration or joke. He had like a tan outfit on. You know, like, and I automatically assumed, and I really believe this, no joke, I said he must have set up like a safari business over in a Cuban. I say, he probably like, I was like, you know, I'm going to ask him, like, you know, so what you got, a safari thing going? He had like the safari colors on. And I'm like, how does the guy do it? But I really thought, I said, you doing a safari? He's like, no, man, it's like security, like, these are color of our stuff. You know, I was like, okay. But I appreciate you, man. Even let me get a chance to go tonight. Called and asked me, hey, man, when you want to go, Wednesday night or Friday night? And I was asleep when he woke me. He woke me up, so I wasn't conscious. I just said, man, it don't matter. I'm good either day. Don't make no difference. I woke up and looked. I said, oh, no. I like to go Friday night if you're fine with that. You know, you get a little more space on Friday night. So I appreciate it, man. Anyways, it's good to be here, and good a chance to get up and talk to you guys again. You know, I always a hop to do that. We got our Mishpachah in Mexico. And honestly, I don't know where they're at. I don't know if they're still in Mexico anymore. I really don't. They're doing stuff that I don't know if y'all saw the text messages. I don't know where they're at, what they're doing, what they're even saying. I really don't. At this point, when my Ra'ah yells at me and Tim in St. Martin about, hey, y'all going too deep now. I don't know. Hey, cut the white off. Get the white off. I said, all right. Yeah, I wake up today and see they're going snorkeling, not on the beach. They're driving out to the ocean. I mean, they're out there. Sharks, everything out there. I seen navy blue water. We were going to go jet skiing in St. Martin on the Atlantic side. And I couldn't wait. And he threw a little, yeah, if it was me, I really want to go out there. And I just said, I ain't going. And I know he heard it, because they like typically said, well, just be careful. Y'all go over. I said, okay. I said, cool. But it don't matter now. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they believe anymore at this point. I have them. Most how when they watching, who knows? I mean, we don't know at this point. But we definitely miss them, guys. Definitely miss them. Let me book of Romans. We'll start at 15:04. I know it's Friday. Everyone's out working and hustling and tired. But if you can hold on, most high willing, we catch a Barak tonight, you know, and just get something that's good for us. The bar is always right. And his way is always right. You know, it's just a matter of what you want to do. And we talk about being chosen and elected, and that should give us a really bigger appreciation more than anything else, than a lot of different stuff. But we'll get started. I don't want to hold you too long. This is Romans 15:04.
For whatever Nikatab before, Nikatab to Lamadas, so that through endurance and through the Nakum of the Ketubim, we might have Tikva.
So this is our base, right? Because whatever was written before is to align with us, which is to teach us and to give us consolation. You know, we get there, we go back to the book, and I always tell you, you know, you got to be able to see yourself in that book. You got to be able to see yourself and kind of be able to relate to what them people went through with the understanding they didn't have the end of the story like we do. So it's a lot tougher for them to say why it's going on to understand what's being fulfilled. We got the book to say, oh, this is what this did and this is what he did, and we assume they felt and saw the same way and they didn't. You know, when the Nabah was given his Nabah, you know, it didn't happen yet. He was doing it. You know, we get to read it and then see the fulfillment. So we're in a lot better situation. Too often we say if we were back then what we would do, and in reality we really wouldn't, because we actually have more than what they did. I was guilty of that. I always assumed if I got to be around Yahushua and around the Shalakim, man, there's no way. Or if I seen the sea split, the Red Sea split, and all those different what they call miracles and plagues that hit, it's just without a shadow of doubt, why wouldn't I? Who goes and mumbles and grumbles right after you see all that stuff, you know? But it's very likely that the same things we do, if a Tuladar or a generation read our book, they would see, like, man, how did they do some of the stuff or make decisions they made with all the signs, what they call Atzin, or Atzin, they call it around us, you know? So that's why I say it's really important. But give me Oriyah 9 to about 50, 9 to about 51. A lot of us are either married, got kids. All of us are children, because we all got parents, hopefully. Unless one of you guys are Melchizedek at this point. But either way, so we all can kind of relate to parents, children, our spouses, or some type of relationship, friendships. I guess I'll say children is going to be the most common amongst us all, because we all have parents, right? And a lot of us have children. My 2-year-old Yaya, when I explain something to her, like don't go by the light outlet of the socket, she don't understand why. She just knows Daddy says don't do it, right? So if she does it, I'm going to pop her hand. Now she knows better. If she does it again, I'm probably going to pop her a little harder, right? She will stop doing that out of fear, out of yard and reverence for her daddy. Say, you know, Daddy's going to hit me if I do this, right? But she has no understanding of why she's not doing it. You guys follow me? So eventually, it's anyone's goal, a parent, when their kids get to an age, you don't really want them doing stuff so much out of the fear, but of the understanding, right? Understanding and a real ahab, right? And I guess I say the same thing kind of with Mr. Yahuwah, is that I'm not negating that we should fear him or not have a yard for him, right? But at some point in time, I think you transition from a fear to a servitude out of a ahab, and understanding. We fear him for going Sheol, right? But if we don't really understand why or understand or have a real ahab for him, at the end of the day, fear really can be broken at some point in time. How can you put it? If I fear for my life, I don't want to die, right? Most people fear they don't want to die. I'm not willing to risk my life for someone because of my own fear of dying. However, if it's somebody that I have to risk my life for that I have, I'm willing to put that fear away, most high willing. I'm not saying I will, I'm just putting it out there. But most people would assume that, hey, I would do something out of a hob. Like, I will risk something that costs me, or if I have a fear, or I don't like spiders, but my girls, they see a spider and they lose it, they just got to be the one to kill it. And I don't want to kill, I don't like spiders. And it's just that feeling, but I'm the same way. But my fear of spiders gets negated because I have a stronger emotion or feeling with me called a hob, an attachment to my daughters, and saying, hey, I will sacrifice my fear for that. So why I say that's where you kind of look at where fear comes into play is there's a weakness with it. Because how a lot of us came down here with a real fear and intensity for like, man, I don't want to burn. So we picked up and moved, and we came down here, and we said, man, listen, I got to get this right. And most of it was out of a fear. It was for me, like, it ain't even about our hobby, who. It just, I'm going to burn forever, and I got to get down and get it right. But a lot of us, including myself, we made decisions where once that you get comfortable and you break that fear and that reverence, mentally, nothing happens to you. Or nothing happens to you. Most of us, Yahuwah's been so too, a lot of things just not have happened that should have happened, right? But you know what tends to happen? Now that fear gets a little bit less, or now that respect for Yahuwah kind of comes to a point like, it really ain't there. Now, you won't consciously say, like, I don't respect them, I don't fear them, but actions will show different, right? You know, we've all been, this ain't nobody personal, this is all of us. Today, you guys are all my audience. Today, you know what I'm saying? Austin, everyone's my audience. Not just anybody on YouTube, everybody's my audience today, including myself. So you fall for that trap of, well, you know, Yahuwah, in a sense you get slack. I think, give me, we'll come back to this Order 951. Give me second cuff. I think it's 3 and 9. Might be 10, but we'll start at 9. Lefties got it bad when it comes to writing. We got a bad reputation. Here it is 9. Go to verse 8 then. We'll just read down real quick. Go ahead, Chris.
But this is the one should not be forgotten of them. Beloved ones, that one yom is with the un of Yahuwah as 1,000 shanim, and 1,000 shanim as one yom.
You know what? That's kind of scary if you think about it, because, you know, 7 days is, or 7,000 years to Yahuwah is like 7 days. For us, 7,000, you know what I'm saying? That's like 7 days, you know. I mean, so our life literally is like a vapor of smoke to him. So there's a lot. And really, if you look at like a gnat, I think they have a really short lifespan and certain things like that. You really have no regard for their life in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You'll kill it. It ain't nothing to you. And you look at how Sheriff Boss even explained about a man being weak and how they say mortal. Because I don't know if you ever watched movies back then. I don't watch them now. But like when they have different gods and whatever, and they were referred to humans as mortal, like they're weak, like they're mortal. Like I live forever. Like, man, what's this weak man? You know, so, but how we can view us to the point, like literally, we don't have time to play. You know, one day, it's a vapor. We don't have time. And the fear, which we should have, I'm not negating, do not say, Sheriff just said we don't have fear for Yahuwah or reverence. What I am saying, though, is that we've lost that. We lost that. And that's why I feel like the stronger of the two is going to be Ahab. But in order for you to really Ahab him to get you to a point of saying, I'm going to stop doing things I'm doing, there has to be a real Ahab. That's why he said, if you're my friends, if you do whatsoever I command you. If you Ahab me, you'll do what? Which he didn't say, well, you know, and you have to have a fear, obviously, but he used the word Ahab to say, listen, because at the end of the day, if you really Ahab me, you'll do right for me. Even if you have that fear and reverence for me, your Ahab is going to be the thing that pushes you over that edge of, you know what, I'm no longer going to do this. I'm going to act some way because I genuinely have a Ahab for you, because when your fear is broken, it's broken. And like I said, keep going. This is the verse I wanted to get to, actually. I'm sorry. Try to slow down. My coach Lancaster talked to me today, and I'm really trying to slow down a little bit. Let's go.
Yahuwah is not slow that is concerning his Shabbat, as some think this backwards. But he extends his wrath for us, not willing that any lost should perish, but all should turn to repentance.
And that's what I guess I was trying to say, that when you break that fear, or you kind of get out a point, you may not consciously say, man, I ain't scared, I don't fear him, I don't respect him, but it's there. Even though you won't consciously say it, behaviors, actions, thoughts, words, it's going to show you something different. So it's there. So what we tend to do is, just like he says, why he wrote it, naturally, you would just count it as slackness. You won't say it. You won't think, well, you may think it, but you're not going to consciously admit to that. But this is why he wrote it, because we do. We'll break and say, you know what? Nothing happened me today. And typically, now that fear ain't there, so guess what? Really, a lot of men just say, it's, you know, they just kind of, I think the King James is slack, but he says, they kind of tell him, he says, as some think this is backwards. But he's letting them know that really, at the end of the day, it's his Ahab and long suffering. He extends his wrath, and his whole end is, I really not that y'all should perish. But we count it as slack. So I would guess that at some point in time, if there's not a real Ahab there for Yahuwah, there's not going to be a change. So how can we get to a point of really sitting down to say, I Ahab this man? Any ideas? I mean, this ain't no trick question. I'm just curious. I mean, what do we need to do to say, you know what? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we should have had before that I think we just take for granted. And we're trying to get a fear back. And again, you should fear Yahuwah. That's part, you know, it talks about fearing Yahuwah. So I'm not saying that. I just want you guys to look at the relationship kind of like a parent. I give you a fear to get you to me, to keep you out of a certain area that I don't want you to burn forever. But eventually I want a transition for you guys to say, you know what? I serve you now, not so much just because I'm scared of going to Sheol, because you can do that, but really it's being kept because I owe you everything I got. I mean, a man, for someone who hides you, you owe him everything you got. You look at a man, Yahushua, like I said, he took his own life so that we could live. And if you look, at one point, he even said, really, take this cup from me. There was a fear setting in of, naturally, I don't want to die either. So it's easy for me to say, man, really, and again, had I been the Ben of Yahushua, or Ben of Elohim, in a sense, not that I am, or saying I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying, not the Ben, everyone follow me? But, preacher, man, just say he's the Ben, preacher. No, but naturally, you got to be thinking, man, listen, bump them. Like he even Pilar, let's go back to what we had in the beginning. Y'all remember that Pilar? I think it was the 17th chapter. When you don't got to get out 17th chapter of the book, Yukonon. He told him, go back to where it was before. He wanted that kabul. Naturally, you say, man, these mortal humans, forget them. They didn't slap me, spit on me, hit me, kick me. They think they're the best dancers, breathing up all the air. They did all this stuff. So, but the thing is, his natural mindset, there was a fear that set in of like, you know what, if there's some other way. But the Ahab was stronger than the fear. Ahab kept them up on the tomb till the job was done. And anyone familiar with that? Jahi, I told you, man, you're going diamond, man. But Ahab, Jahi said in his lyrics, he said he kept him up there till the job was done. It outweighed his fear. And situation, why I'm saying this is because I know I've been there where you lose that respect, reverence, and fear, and it's really hard to get it back because really the real way to get it back, he really just has to kill somebody off or do something to you so drastic, you're like, man, I'd never do it again. But there was a long suffering and a hop there for the man to say, I ain't going to paralyze you. I ain't going to cut your eye out. And I'm not saying this would never happen. I'm not saying, but we are on situations where really we should be dead. Someone should have been killed to a point of not everyone else, because back in the biblical days, what they say, he killed folks to get that fear and reverence. It was like, okay, well, how about this? I just killed about 3,000 people. That should get people scared enough to say, I ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? Or do something so bad to somebody where it's like, where people were born blind, they would say, well, who sinned? Who committed kata? Because they looked at something had to been happening for these people to be like this. So a lot of us should be in them situations, or we all should be wiped out to a degree, So there was a long suffering that I have there for this man saying, I really don't want to see you guys go through that. I would like to punish you in ways. Even for me, I feel like, I remember a preacher talked to me, and I had suffered some things, but I look and say, man, really, man, I should have been through a whole lot worse. When you say chosen, elected, there's a whole lot of people out there that are more qualified and better than me, smarter than me, and have a whole lot less on their sin sheet, if you'll say. I've got too much on there. But that's actually kind of what got me to a strength now of saying, you know what, I don't have time, and I really owe this man every last day I got of my life. And it's gotten to a point where I operate more of an ahab. There's a fear there always, but the ahab is what the strength is, the point of saying, man, for someone to do so much for me, I really kind of do them wrong. And the farther I get away from my problem, like my mistakes I've made, the farther I get away from those. And a lot of you come to that point, you will actually feel worse and worse as time goes on. For me, it's how it's been. The farther I've gone away from all my mistakes, I feel more guilty for them. I'm like, man, I did what? In my mind, like, I did, man, how did I get to that point? What would even get me to that point? Like, where was my mind? And it sometimes bring me to tears sometimes, believe it or not. I'll be in a car and I'll say, how did I ever get to a point to a person being so right for me? There was no, how? But it also keeps you to the point where now you become more appreciative. Some people quicker than others. There was a guy here back in 2008. He got up and testified and said, and he cut down on preacher real good. Some of y'all might have seen it, might be on YouTube. He let them know you beat the sheep. Man, you called my wife stupid. And he went in on preacher real good. And preacher got up and, preacher, he basically let him know, hey, we're going to town. And he went to town. And I think that guy may have fell asleep during that while he was preaching. And afterwards, came to the preacher, shook his hand like nothing had happened. And preacher looking like, yeah, when you're done, he's like, done? What you mean? He's like, what you just you hear everything you said, like, what? He's like, you said I beat the sheep. You said I called your wife stupid. I hit on the members. I said, what? and it was amazing because I was like, man, like, this guy has already repented. Like, he's a new creature. Like, he said, man, what? He said, I said, what? He said, I don't even believe I said that. I'm like, man, it was amazing. Some of y'all were here when that happened. But I knew this to say for him, I guess, he removed himself so to the point of like, hey, I'm good now, you know. But I say that to say, man, the more consistent you get, the farther you get from your problems, you will start to, I think, realize, you know, just how bad them decisions were. But you obviously have to get to that point. And but one way or the other, I believe Ahab is going to trump a lot of things. But we have to get to a point of having a Ahab for him. And what did I say? Uriah 9:51. Go ahead and get that Uriah 9:51. Go ahead, Aki, Chris. Okay, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Uriah 9:51?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, I appreciate it.
And it came to pass, when the Yamim drew near for his ascension, he set his Pani to go to Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
He sent Malachi ahead of his Pani. They went and entered into one of the villages of the Shamranim to make arrangements for him.
Yep.
But they did not welcome him because his Pani was going to Jerusalem.
Okay.
Jacob and Yeuchanan, his Talmudim, saw this and said, "Our Adon, do you want us to we say that fire should come down from the Shamayim and consume them, even as all Yahoo did?"
You know what? Coming from some guys who just joined up with him, you know, I'm not sure how many years this was after they joined up, but we know 3 years would have been the most, right? You know, that's a pretty big thing. You just got scooped up by Yahushua to be a Shalakim or Shalak, and already, man, you looking like, man, listen, we can cast down fire. Their first mindset is, man, let it rain on them. You know, and honestly, it's kind of a high mind, but I think we've all been there. A lot of us have joined when we first joined, and there was kind of a Sadiq or for me, it's kind of high mind. It was easy for me to look down on others that wasn't in this way. You know, kind of like, is it easy, you know, like I said, I would look for a fight, you know. And there's times to fight. Don't get me wrong. There's times to defend what you're in all day. So I'm not saying that. But it's kind of, these men, I can relate because you walk with Yahushua. It's kind of like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I got it. So if you ain't giving this man a respect, you know what I'm saying? Man, we let fire come down. And then considering, in Yucatan, the 15th chapter, I believe it was, he told him, you ain't choose me, I chose you. Yeah. See, they forgot real quick. Really, the people you want fire to come down, I really could have just chose them. Go ahead.
But he turned and reprimanded them and said, "Do you not know whose Ruach you are, the Beni of?"
Yep.
For the Ben of Ish did not come to destroy Anashim's Kai, but to save them. They went on to another village.
And that's good. He let them know. He said, you don't even know what man of Ruach. And then he said, you know, I didn't come to destroy. He said, I came to save. And that's why I get everyone to get a point of, if you're going to believe you're chosen, that means he came to save you. If you want to think about just you for the second, don't even think about the congregation. If he chose you, that means he literally came to save you. Mistakes were made. Things happened. They went contrary to Yahuwah. But the man is, he's stuck with you. See, if my wife goes and cheats on me with another man, more likely my mindset, she's done. There is no makeup for that. There is no, you know, one, I'm hurt. Two, that's going to bother me. You know, you're hurt. It don't feel well, right? But you know what the real reason, when I say the real reason, that's not one of the bigger reasons. I won't even say bigger, but it's a very big contributing reason. People are not going to forgive because I'm going to be more worried about what other people think about me. I'm going to be hurt, and it's going to hurt, right? But the reconciliation is going to be more about, I am not going to let people think I'm a fool and I'm an idiot. How many's with me on that? Y'all agree? Okay, so here's the thing. What are we really saying about Yahuwah?
Yeah, that's right.
Because at the end of the day, we're basically saying, I ain't talking about, I'll be a fool to do that. And at the end of the day, Yahuwah is saying, so that makes me a fool. Because I know you ain't been amunah to me. You know what I'm saying? Because we in our mind is more so because I'm worried about what people think. So at the end of the day, that's why Yahuwah, in a sense, is looked at the way he's looked at. Yahushua's looked at as soft. And, you know, in Christianity, that's what we always looked at. Like, man, we had to kind of defend. He ain't no punk. You know what I'm saying? He ain't, you know, because they look at, he's got to be soft. You let these people do what they want to do, you know, he's got to be soft. But that's the thing. So I guess what I want to get us to understand is, again, let's look at Yahuwah's perspective, because we always look at our own perspective and our own cares and wants of, man, am I going to burn forever, what, this and that. And we never actually sit down and say, you know, how does he really feel about my behavior? How does he really feel I make this man look like a fool? Because really, again, if I'm elected, which means I've been chosen, which means I had no control, this is something he decided to do, I'm just trying to figure out at what point do we start realizing this more every day to say, this should kind of say, you know what, before I go do this, yes, I should be scared of Sheol, but obviously that line has been crossed and broken. So what is going to keep me now? And if it ain't a Ahab, honestly, there's nothing else for you. If you can't Ahab this man enough to stay out of it, fear is only going to take you for so long. It's just not going to hold you for so long. Just ain't. Now there's going to be a fear that, listen, when he comes back for judgment, my daughters, and I'm long suffering with them. Do I say, hey, don't stop doing this, stop doing that, and they'll keep doing it, but I'll sit down and say, okay. Now once I get up and start coming towards, they know at this point it's too late. So now the crying, the weeping and wailing comes because they know once Daddy gets up, he's not sitting back down, this is going to hurt. Now they fear again. And this will happen when Mashpat comes because the fear's been lost, but it's going to come again when judgment comes. The fear, we're going to be weeping and wailing, and by that point it's too late. The long suffering at this point is over with. So at this point, long suffering is it's really time for us to get this right. Give me Way of Yah 7:54. Go ahead, Chris. Might be, make it 54, verse 54, I'm sorry. It is? Go up to maybe 40 then. Try 40. Oh, man, I'm way off now. What's 40 say? Oh, boy, that's not a good sign, Jay. That's not a good sign. I'm supposed to be within 2 verses. Keep going down slowly. No, I'll go down. I might be, keep going. Keep going. There it says 41. 41. Man, I'm off on that. Go ahead. Verse 41. Go ahead, Chris.
A certain lender had 2 debtors.
Yep.
One was indebted to him 500 denarii, and the other 50 denarii. Since they did not have to pay it back, he pardoned both of them. Now, please tell me who of the 2 of them cherished him more.
Keep going.
Shimon answered and said, I would imagine the one whom he forgave more. And he said to him, you have mashpah correctly.
Keep going.
Turning toward the Ashah, he said to Shimon, do you see this Ashah? Behold, I came to your beth, and you did not put ma'im on my regal, but she brought tears down on my regal and dried them with her hair. Mm-hmm. You did not give me one kiss, but she, from the time I came, has not stopped kissing my regal.
Yep.
You did not mashiach my head with oil, but she mashiach my regal with perfume. Therefore I say to you, her many kataim are forgiven, for she ahab greatly, but one who is forgiven little, he ahabs little.
You see that? And I've talked about this before, but I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, and he gave you a debt. He kind of help you guys understand, like when you owe a lot of money, and I owe a lot of money, if they come out a new plan where they're saying, listen, all debt is forgiven, starting from scratch, I'm going to be very happy to America. I'm going to be very grateful to America. But jokingly, of course, but I'm going to be happy. But this end of the day, he's trying to get you to understand, and I think a lot of us should be able to relate because there's been a lot of mistakes, right? So we're in a lot of heavy debt with this man. And we're still here today. You still got your limbs. You still got, everyone's in a position now. Really, I don't know what we could be complaining about at this point. Really don't. I don't know what we could really complain about. There's ought to be enough ahab really to point the books being fulfilled. There's been a lot of stuff forgiven. There's been a lot forgiven. So at some point in time, if this fear, like I said, Ahab has got to at some point kick in and say, man, do I Ahab this man or not? You know, and at the end of the day, because he surely Ahab's us, you know, and it shows because we're here and we got life, we got breath in our body, and at the end of the day, we've got a lot of stuff to a point that needs to be forgiven, and we're going to this man, and I just guess I want to really kind of stir us in the right direction. I'll say stir. I'm not Rob Smith. I'm not trying to say I'm trying to take leadership when I take that. I'm talking about within this message. Y'all follow me? And within the message, just trying to get y'all to stir to see, some provoke to say, man, it's been a lot done for me. At some point, I have to Ahab this man. You know what I'm saying? It's got to come down to a point because the fear, honestly, is gone. Do you want to be flat front? There is not a fear right now. I don't believe there's a whole lot of fear in it. Some people do. Some people have not made a lot of mistakes because of that fear, and they mixed it. They've been able to keep that Ahab there too, where it's worked together just how it should, right? There's a lot of people who've not, where they've lost that fear. And honestly, it's almost like when salt loses its flavor, you just don't get that back. I'll say this, you can get that fear back. It's going to really cost you something. Could cost your life. By that point, the word we want for you is for the next person because you're done, right? Or it could do something very detrimental to a point where you say, okay, now I fear. And then you're going to ask yourself, man, I sure would have been like to hide this man before I got to that point. Now, nonetheless, you saved, or when I say saved, you're still alive to make them changes. So it could cost, you know, it did the right thing for you. But I guess why we have the opportunity, what we got to do now, one human at a time, man, like we are really, the clock's winding down. 1,000 years is one day to him, and none of us live 1,000 years. So we're not even alive one day. So your life to him is going to be, man, listen, really, you did a lot of wrong in less than a day. So, you know, that's my new thing. So, get that for my sit there, I think. Give me 2 Samuel, verse 16, chapter 16, verse 1. I know it's a little slower than I usually, but I'm trying to be a little slower so you guys I make sure I don't run too fast. Coach Lancaster said, man, consider your IQ, man. You go so fast and talk so fast. Consider your IQ. I said, yeah, he's right. He's definitely right. This is Beth Samuel 16 and about verse 1. Go ahead. You know what? You might be able to drop down about verse 3. Drop down to verse 3 for me. That might be. Go. You start there. Go ahead. You start there.
Then the Malak said,
hold on one second. I always tell y'all when we're reading, just don't take it for granted. Really hone and focus in. For those that's awake and not sleepy, and just really hone in, because this is Yahuwah talking. Go ahead.
Then the Malak said, and where is your Adon's Ben?
Yep.
And Saba said to the Malak, behold, he is staying in Jerusalem. For he said, today the Beth of Yasharal shall restore the Malkuth of my Abba to me.
Yep.
So the Malak said to Sabia, behold, all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours. And Saba said, I prostrate myself, let me find favor in your O my Adon, the Malak. When Malak Daoud came to Bakraim, behold, there came out from there an Ish of the Mishpachah of the Beth of Shaul, whose Shem was Shemei, the Ben of Gerar. He came forth in all still as he came.
Mm-hmm. He said he cursed him. Go ahead.
He threw a bond at Daoud and at all the
Malak Daoud was getting thrown. They was cursing him and throwing stones at him. Go ahead.
And at all the Abadim of Malak Daoud, and all the and all the mighty Anashim were at his right hand and at his left.
Yep.
Thus Shimei said, when he get out, O Dam Ish, and O Ish of worthlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Yahuwah has returned upon you all the Dam of the Beth of Shaul, in whose place you have reigned, and Yahuwah has given the Malkuth into the hand of your Ben Absalom. And behold, you are taken in your own Rosha, for you are a Dam Ish.
Yep.
Then Abishai, the Ben of Saruya said to the Malak,
Yep.
why should this dead dog all my Adon the Malak? Let me go over now and cut off his head.
Or let me just let fire rain down on him. Go ahead.
But the Malak said, what have I to do with you, O Banim of Saruya, if he all and if Yahuwah has told him all Daoud, then who shall say, why have you done so?
You see Dawood's mind? And it makes sense why Yahushua would be the Ben of Dawood. Very similar situation. And really, Dawood, I mean, got it really good. I mean, verbally right there. But even Yahushua, they just didn't want, they didn't have nothing to do with him. They just basically said, nah, we ain't listening to that. And they were ready to rain fire on him. But you see, as Ben of Dawood, the son of, as they say, the son of David, the Ben of Dawood, you look at same very similar situation. Malak's being cursed out. And he said a lot of stuff. I mean, really, I'm with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, these men shouldn't live. Like, what are we standing here for? You know what I'm saying? But Dawood's mind at the time was what? Let him do it. He said if he curses, he said maybe Yahuwah told him to do it. Dawood actually had an understanding of, you know what, be honest with you, ain't nothing that happened without a purpose. I had enough understanding to see a lot of stuff that comes and befalls our ways, it's for a purpose. And Yahuwah, like I said, again, if we're going to say it's chosen and pre-elected and it's predestination, that means everything that's happening is happening for a reason. You can have a mind of, like I say all the time, well, if it's predestinated, then I ain't got to do nothing. Yeah, and that's the mind he gave you. I can assure you, that's the mind he gave you. But why I say, if anyone in that room is thinking that, I feel like you're a hypocrite, because you really shouldn't be here. Because you got to think, too, he gave your mind to be here. Just like you say, well, I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, I ain't got to do nothing. He put it on your mind to come here today. So, you know, it's no way around. Like, however which way you want it, you was too smart. Too smart for all that, whatever, however you're thinking to get out, it's too smart for that. Too smart. That's why you're here. That's why, because there's a small portion of each and every one of you, a mustard seed, as you would say. Only small, but every one of you, there's a portion you believe, even though I screwed up or whatever the case may be, I think there's a small part I might be saved, or I'm just waiting to hear the right thing, see the right thing, see a vision, whatever it is. You're looking and waiting and have a tick ball for something, what they say a hope of, I'm going to hear, say, or do something that's going to change my situation. 99% of you may say you don't believe it, but that's why you stare. Because it just don't really make sense for me to say, well, I can't be saved. I ain't meant to be saved. Then you shouldn't be. You know, let the Lord give you the mind to go and leave now. And for whatever reason, you guys are still here, so he gave you the mind to stay. So maybe that's his mind saying, you know what, perhaps I plan to save you. And there should be some spark to say, man, after all that, you still plan to save me? And guess what? That means I really should be walking out of a house. I don't want my wife doing what I say in the house because she's scared of me. Don't get me wrong, you want to have a fear and reverence. Again, don't take this to the 10th power. But I would rather have my wife do things at the house for me because it's a genuine, like, you know what, my husband goes out and grinds and hustles and works hard every day. So I want to have food ready for him. Not, man, I better hurry, because if he get home, he is going to cuss me out. If he, not literally, but he's going to just hypothetically cuss me out if his food ain't ready. So I'm just scared because I'm scared. Really, I'd rather you operate from the standpoint of, I want you to have some income. You know, and this is just an example, you know what I'm saying? But that's what all of it, any relation, that's why I say relationships. Everyone wants a relationship, whether it be a friendship with your children or your spouse. You want something genuine of, this is what they want. Right. Not I'm forced to do. Right. Yahuwah used a lot of things of fear to get us to a point, and we should continue with that fear. But I believe as an Abba, as Yahuwah being an Abba, there is a genuine, like, look at the how I show you, I want that back in return. How many, listen, I'll say this. There's people in life that get me really upset sometimes. This is not to start a fight with people that's come and gone, right? But people have come and gone, right? And then a lot of things get said, either lies, rumors get started, and there's a lot of back and forth. You know, it's always some type of commotion, right? And that would anger me more than anything. A lot of times, like, man, these people been here, why are they lying? Like, you know, you just flat lying at this point. I can respect, hey, I screwed up too many times, I don't want to be here. I can respect that. Or I just don't believe what they teach. I'm gone. But the fight, that's what irritates. I get more irritated than anything is the fight. You know, and my mind always is, I cannot wait to mosh pot. Or even before then, it's like, man, if something bad happened to them, well, they just got to say, man, they was right. And it angers me. Is anyone, it don't have to be with that, but is there anything that really angers y'all about other people sometimes that's similar to that? Good. And why I say this, because what you really have to do is relate yourself, ask yourself, so when I do against Yahuwah, is this how he feels about me? Because I've been really angry. I'm like, man, man, they need to be cut off. Something bad happened to my mind, you know. And you know what I think about? You're with me, man, that's a really good idea because, man, every time you just screwed up, man, I was thinking the same thing about you. Mm-hmm. This is not a message to say for, Yahuwah is going to forgive everybody. Don't take it like that. All I'm saying is I want you guys to get, for you in here and those watching who's trying to be saved, just put yourself in Yahuwah's shoes and say, man, there's a lot that's been done for me. So before I start jumping, let Yahuwah do his job. Let the preachers do their job, what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, a lot's been laid on the line where you should be, them people, fire should be raining down. You should be that dead dog they want to cut their head off on. Me too. When I say you, us. I say me too. Give me Way of Yah, the 23rd chapter, about the 23:34. Right here, classic verse. And a lot of people use this for a lot of different stuff. All I say is this: honesty proves itself out. Integrity, honesty proves itself out. When you look for verses to get out of something, it will show out. But nonetheless, when you do it, when you're honest about what you're doing, because a lot of people take this, he gonna forgive it, and he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Now, there's no point having Sheol if everyone's getting forgiven. So don't take this message that way. All I need you guys to understand right now at this point is we should be them people that should be going to Sheol. And he did a lot for us for that not to happen. All right? Go ahead. This is Way of Yah 23:34.
Yahushua said, Abi, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. They divided his garments between them and cast lots.
Mm-hmm. So, give me Yeshayahu 53. I think it's on the last two verses. What is that? I'm not sure the number is. I know, remembering in the where it's at in there. I think it's like maybe the last two verses. But there's just a lot to do. You just got put on a tube, nailed. You got spit. I didn't even go through all that. We know, been spit, hit, smacked on, the whole nine. I mean, honestly, as a man, here's the crazy thing about it. I'm letting these people do this to me, and I really don't have to because I have the authority to do a whole lot, to do what they're doing. I can prove it out right now. Like, I can send down fire. I can have my Malaki come down. He told Pilate, he said, this was my Malachite, he said, they'll fight for me. He said, I could do it. So here's a catch to it. It's one thing when you just can't physically fight back or, and you just got to take that whooping from a bully or whatever the case may be. It's another thing when really I could stop all this right now. I really could. But I'm holding out on that. And again, let's just deal with us. That's for the simple fact of he let them know they don't even know what they're doing. Because remember, this is meant to happen. So somebody had to play this role. Somebody had to be created to play this role. In order for us to be saved, somebody had to be created to go to Sheol. If we're people run for office. A politician would know this. In order for them to get elected, somebody has not to get elected, right? That means somebody else has to not get your vote, which means the vote you would have got, Breezy, I'm giving to Eric, which means for him to get elected, it means whoever was ran, they didn't get elected. So it has to come to play. So just know everyone's playing their purpose. But here's the people that they didn't know what they're doing, really. I think it was, might be 1 Corinthians, you don't got to get it, maybe the 2nd chapter, or 4th chapter, maybe 2 Corinthians chapter 4, or 1 Corinthians chapter 4. But he let them know, he said, had they known, they wouldn't have crucified him. Said he wouldn't have did it. So at the end of the day, it's a pretty nice thing to say, you know what, I forgive them, because they really don't know. They're just playing their role. And a role he had to go through at the same time to get each and every one of us to finally get to a point to say, man, I got to just really stop. I got to walk halak upright, yashar, as they say. Give me the last couple of verses. Is this the last verse? All right, go ahead, right here.
Verse
That's
11?
why I can remember. I can't remember a Yeshayahu book with only 11 verses in there. Goodness.
Verse
go
11?
Ahead. Go to 11. You can start 11, though. Go ahead.
He shall see of the travail of his nephash, and be satisfied. By his knowledge shall the Sadiq one, my Abad, sadak the many, as he shall bear their iniquity. Therefore I shall allot him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the booty with the strong, because he poured out his nephash to moot, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bare the kata of many and interceded for the transgressors.
Yeshua said he was going to do what he just did. And already out of 23rd chapter, he said he's going to make intercession for him. And the thing is, we always want that intercession to be only for us and not for others. And that's not, again, saying we should applaud for others. Again, what I want you guys to consider when I say that, the anger and upset you give with other folks, you need to feel that. Because you got to ask yourself, is this where Yahuwah is at with me? That's all. This is not about telling y'all, man, them guys out there, man, everyone going to be saved. You know what I'm saying? Justin preach. I'm not saying that. I need us to get in a position of that fear has been broken. How can we get back to Yahuwah? And I believe Ahab is just a stronger way to do it. Yeah, Ahab, they say you got Tikva and Amunah, and he said Ahab. And he said out of these three, he said Ahab is the greatest. Because like I said, a fear will break at some point in time. Fear was a strong emotion, and a lot can be done with fear. A lot of right can be done with fear. And it's been shown, he told him to fear him, because you should fear, right? But in the transition of getting to Ahab, there's something a man would do. He will risk it, die for everyone else. Fear will not get a man to do that. Other than if he just like, hey, man, I fear being tortured. You know, I ain't about to get tortured. You can just kill me now. But that's because the fear of that. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to an Ahab, you're talking about the death he wasn't just saying, okay, we're going to just shoot you real quick, make this quick. This is, we're about to spit on you. We're about to humiliate you. Again, walking down that way, there's not people in that crowd except for the people that knew him. Just like now, we seen a man up here going down, had a toot on. And that's going to look crazy to us. And not only that, these people are slapping and spitting on him, and they're saying things about him like, yeah, and just he's a child molester. He's a rapist. More like, we're like, man, yeah, get him. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll probably jump in like, you know, because we're just assuming the crowd's right, you know. So what you think he's going up there doing? These people, like, again, y'all have to kind of consider, we just assume he's got blonde hair and blue eyes and walked through, but we all know they did it, the good old Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And just assume that, you know, he knew from the get-go, as a man, that man's going to look at, I have a Malkut and Shamayim, I have Malachi at my disposal. He said, I'm the Ben of Elohim. And we don't know what else they were saying. They could have been calling him a child molester for all we know. We can say, yeah. And I'm not saying they did. I didn't put that. I'm just saying, I'm sure there's a lot of things they've said that as a man, you look and say, man, no, they ain't, you know, man, fired. At least him get one. Let me get one on fire real quick. But that would have stopped everything. He burned one. That's, oh, shoot. He is the Ben Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he had to be able to say, I just got to keep my mouth shut. I got to just take this. And we deservingly should take it, but we, you know, let alone get to a point of when you don't deserve it. But man, right, that was 12. But it just goes to show Yeshayahu told him he was going to intercede for him, which was good for us. Acts 7:48. I'm going to get y'all here in a second, y'all. I don't want to put too much out there. It's Friday night, and I know I really want you guys to retain what you get. And I want you guys to really take it serious. I always joke about when I turned 40, something changed for me. But it wasn't about 40. It's just the older I get, the farther I get away from my past and mistakes I made, it just makes me more regretful and more hurt and regretful. And I just realized, man, you don't got a whole lot of time left. You don't know when your day is going to be. And, man, I just want to have more time with him where he says, I want to really look at him and say, man, Justin Hobbs me. You know, it's always one side. Me and a preacher always been close, and he does so much for me, you know. And sometimes it hurts because I feel like I can't do the same. I mean, it's mostly monetarily, you know what I'm saying. But you're a friend like that. You're like, man, I would like to be able to just, man, here I got you, you know what I'm saying. And sometimes it's hard to do that. You're like, man, I ain't a good friend, you know. And I want that relationship with you. I want you to feel like, man, you know, he's a good friend to me. You know, he's good to me. You know, like Jay, I can trust him. Man, he's done wrong, made some mistakes, but you know, when he showed me, given an opportunity, he'll be right to me, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it takes all of us, situations to happen, to see yourself in the light, to make them changes. You get what I'm saying? This is Acts 7:48. This might not, keep going. Go to start here. I might have you skip down. We're going to start here. Start right here. Acts 7:48, begin. Start reading. Acts 7:48.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, my man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
you're good. You're all right.
apologize.
No, you're all right. I appreciate you, Chris.
However,
Me and Chris go way back. Listen, man, Chris can never upset me. Chris is one of my boys. You know what I'm saying? Let me say, hold on. I should not be saying that. Up north, you can get away with saying that. It wasn't a racial connotation per se. So I want to apologize. I'm his boy. You know what I'm saying? How's that? I'm his boy. You know what I'm saying? All right. Go ahead.
however, the Most High does not dwell in dwellings made with hands, as the Nabi says.
This is Stephen talking. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. If you get a chance, you can go back and read this chapter. Stephen, who had the Ruach HaKodesh, is really going in right now and cutting down really hard. If you guys are not familiar, he is cutting down the parashim and those around him and let them know by being stiff-necked. I mean, he's just going in. And he's spitting nothing but a mouth. See, I tell you, there's a time to fight, and there's a time for that. So don't think I'm not telling you because he's going in, and he's going in hard. Pause. Go ahead.
The Shamayim is my throne, and the Arats is the footstool of my regal.
Yep.
What Beth shall you build for me, says Yahuwah, or what is the Malkum of my rest?
And he's quoting Yahuwah. He did not say that. So when I say he's the one going in, he did not just say that. He's quoting Yeshayahu, the 66th chapter, I think it says that. So he's cutting down and saying what Yahuwah said. So Stephen was not saying my throne is in there, so y'all know. So I don't want to mislead you on that. Go ahead.
Has my hand not made all these things?
Yep.
You are stiff-necked and uncircumcised in your lob and ears. You always resist the Ruach HaKodesh, as your Aboth did, you also do.
Keep going.
Which of the Nabaim that your Aboth have not persecuted? They even killed those who before announced about the coming of the Sadiq one, whose betrayers and murderers you have now become. You who received the Torah by the hand of the works of Malachi and have not kept it. And it came to pass when they shama this.
What you think happened when they heard this? And this is just, y'all just heard a little bit of this. It's a whole chapter where he's just going in. It's like a diss track from, one of the hardest rappers out there. He just went in on him. Ice Cube, no Vaseline. Go ahead.
And they were filled with anger within the Nephash. And they gnashed their teeth against him. But he, being full of the Ruach HaKodesh, looked steadily into Shamayim and saw the kabod of Elohim and Yahushua standing at the right hand of Elohim.
What a sight to see, huh? Go ahead.
And he said, Behold, I see the Shamayim opened and the Ben of Adam standing at the right hand of Elohim.
How many of y'all want to see something like that? Be honest. Only a couple people? Did I lose my audience already? Maybe you ain't my audience. I don't know. Now, I mean, honestly, okay. Now I cheated. I'm cheating when I say I don't want to. Because you got to think. They said we see this man, we'll die. I think it's Allah Hadabarim, the 4th or 5th chapter. They talk about me and listen. You speak with this man. If we can hear this man's voice anymore, we'll die. Now this man looked up and saw what he just saw. Who wants some jealousy seeing what I just saw? All right. So, and honestly, I'll just say, that would be cool to see, right? Listen, look what happened. Look what it cost them. Go ahead.
Then they sighed out with a loud call and covered their ears, and all of them rushed upon him together.
I'm sorry, that's kind of funny. Can you imagine people be so mad? Hey, don't you talk like that? And they got to cover their ears. That's blasphemy, how dare you? I was like, man, you going to stone me with your hands up here? Like they didn't want to hear some stuff. We'll listen to some stuff we shouldn't. It just kind of, in the point, like, we'll listen to stuff we shouldn't be. These folks said, hold on now. And he didn't even say nothing. He just said, I saw it. But they looking like, man, listen. I got a stone on one hand, my ear covering the other. They want to show you who. We don't play that. Go ahead. They rushed on him. Go ahead.
And they threw him out of the city and stoned him with a bond.
They stoned him. They lost his life. See, before that, they were pissed. Then you come out and say, what you just saw cost him his life. And amazingly, they told him, man, they just said, we hear his voice. Now, this man said, it's like who said, listen, you're about to die. So I at least can show you something, you know what I'm saying? But you are about to die. I mean, but you know what? It cost him his life, but he stood on what he believed, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, which is amazing. I mean, that take a whole nother level of confidence of where you're at. But that just puts you where you know you're ready to die, you better be right with Mr. Yahuwah. Because honestly, a lot of our fears, no doubt, is if you should die, it's am I right with him? It should be. That should be that. And if there's a fear, you'd be like, man, if I do go, am I right with him? You know, is he really going to forgive me? There must have been enough fear, but enough Ahab to understand, man, I know Ahab this man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm ready to die. Shaul said multiple times, like, man, listen, I'm ready to die at this point. Go ahead.
The witnesses laid down their garments at the regal of a certain young Ish, whose Shem was Shaul. They were stoning.
Go back up. They said they laid it at the what? That's interesting, huh? The witnesses laid down their garments at the feet of a certain young man named Shaul. Go ahead.
They were stoning Stephanos as he was calling and saying, "My Adon, Yahushua, receive my Ruach."
Yeah.
And kneeling on his knees, he sighed out with a loud call, "Yahushua, do not hold this kata against them." And it came to pass after his dabarim, as he had said this, he fell asleep.
That's tight, man. Again, he just cut these folks down because he was very upset. Now they're going to kill him for that. His mind, I'm really trying to set you straight, and yet you want to kill me. And yet for some reason, I'm going to have enough mind to say, you know what, forgive them. Did he say they don't know what they do? Do not hold a sin against them. Okay, I didn't know that. I was just curious. Wrote down. He said, don't hold a sin against them. Is that the last verse? That's fine. I was just curious. I don't know. I didn't know if he said it or not. I don't know why I'm thinking. Probably because we just read, so I'm thinking they sound similar. But they have enough mind to say, you know what, forgive them.
Right.
You know, again, This ain't about I'm trying to get you guys to forgive everything. That's not what I'm trying to get you to understand. But I guess I just want you to understand is that the anger that we can have towards somebody, Yahuwah no doubt has that and probably a whole lot more. Because see, the reason I will whoop one of my girls more is because I already told you something that you know better. So now you know better, I'm going to get you even more for that. Right? But I'm going to be long-suffering. Interesting enough, Tim, where we at on time real quick? You don't want to tell me, never mind. Interesting enough why I say that, just a quick point. Allah ha-dabarim 21. Allah ha-dabarim 21. Interesting why I say that real quick. I want to just hit this real quick. We'll get right back on the message. It's on the message still, but I think it's 21, about verse 20. But the thing is, with a child, they will, like I said earlier, they will do a lot of stuff out of fear at first till they get the understanding. And your call is, what they say hope is too, that they'll catch on and say, I understand. And now, Dad or Mom, I do this because I have. Like, I appreciate you showing me at a young age, even though I don't understand that this could kill me if I stick my hand in this light socket. Now that I realize you were saving my life, now that I realize you were looking out for me, now I have a greater appreciation and have for you. But now, when I go over there, I'm not thinking, don't touch it because you're going to whoop my behind. I'm thinking I could die. And I really want to just listen to you because, man, you really looked out for me. But Allah ha-dabarim, yeah, here we go. Go up 1, go up to 19. But the thing is, if they know better and they keep doing it, they're going to get more, the whooping's going to get tougher, right? Because, hey, you know better. You know, the first time you go, the second time maybe, but now you just starting to get out of line. But this can be very dangerous. Go up, verse 18. Man, I'm getting off. 40 is supposed to be the best years of my life, man. I'm getting rusty. Here we go. Allah ha-dabarim 21:18. Go ahead.
If a Ish has a stubborn and rebellious being, who shall not shama to the call of his Abba or to the call of his aim, and when they chastise him, he shall not even shama to them.
What's this chastising going to do to him? What should it do to him? Turn him, but why? There you go. I don't want to get hit again. There's a fear of getting hit, right? All the answers are right, but I wanted to get to a point. Big Timmy knew where I was going with it. So it says, when they chastise him, and this is to put fear and still in him, look what it says next.
Then,
go up. It said, he said, he shall not even, and it goes on to say even after this, it says, he shall not even listen to him. Go ahead.
then his Abba and his aim shall seize him and bring him out to the Zakanim of the city at the gateway of his Malkum.
Yep.
They shall say to the Zakanim of his city, this being of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He shall not shama to our call. he is a glutton and a drunkard.
It's food for thought. I wonder, that's good right there. I wonder if they just threw that in there. I'm just kidding, because I'm just trying to figure out at this point, like, he didn't listen. I wonder if this guy is just hot, like, yeah, he won't listen to us, and he's drinking and eating way too much. Maybe, I don't know. But go ahead, because it just came out of nowhere, like, them the two sins right there. You know, like, everything, that's what you mad about. He's a drunkard and glutton. Okay, he's not listening because he's drunk. That's probably the reason to sober him up, but go ahead.
Then all the unashamed of his city shall abon him with a bond,
Yep.
and he shall moot.
Yep.
So you shall remove the Rosha from your midst, and all Yasharal shall Shama of it, and Yara.
And fear, right? So here's the catch. He got killed because he lost his fear. There was no fear. They chastised him and tried to instill fear in him, and guess what? I'm still doing what I'm going to do. So guess what happens? At this point, you have no more fear. What can I do? If I tell you don't do it, what, I'm going to whoop your behind? Okay, do it. So at this point, Yahuwah looked at, it's just better you die then, because you lost that fear. You don't have it. You don't fear me, which means you'll keep going on and on, which means you'll do Rosha, which means it's still going to be among you, which means guess what? I'll just go ahead and kill you, because at this point, punishment don't work for you. So when is Yahuwah going to look at us and say, you know what, y'all? Punishment just ain't working for you guys. So in order to save some, I'm just going to kill somebody. To put fear in them. Because see, there you go, look at it. This would made other kids scared, like, oh, shoot, now he's not playing. You get what I'm saying? But he lost, his fear was gone, he didn't listen. That's why he kept doing it. The chastisement was supposed to do that. That's why, so I say, when it comes to a child, you look and say, that's why I want you to consider yourself worth beneath for Yahuwah. At some point in time, hey man, you know better, I keep slapping you on the hand, this is not going to go good. And don't count my long suffering for slackness. Count it for what it is. I'm trying to save you. I have you. Why don't you just have me back for once? Simon, go me. Oh shoot. What I had Acts 26:1. I wanted to get that because it talked about how Shaul was laid at his. They laid the coats at Shaul's feet, I believe. The witnesses did. And I thought that's pretty interesting. You look at this. Acts 26 and verse 1. Because in Allah Hadarim, the 17th chapter, without having to, you don't have to go get it. In the Torah, I guess, well, let's read this first. Let me see. Let's get this. And it talks about the witnesses' hands will be the first upon them. You know, if you were the one who witnessed the Rosha, and you're the one who comes out and say, hey, the 2 or 3 witnesses, because you need at least 2 or 3 witnesses for it to be, for the person to be convicted, for lack of better terms. So in our terminology, how we understand it, you needed 2 or 3 witnesses for this for it to stand and say, okay, we're going to punish this man, whether it be death or whatever the case may be. But they were going to be the first ones to put the stones on them because you were the witnesses. So if you're saying it now, don't be scared of throwing the stones. You know, now I know you must be lying. You scared of, you know, follow what I'm saying, right? So they looked at the people who throw the witnesses. They laid their coat at Shaul's feet. Go ahead. And let's see why. This is Acts 26:1.
Agrippa said to Shaul, you are permitted to speak for your Nephash.
Yep.
Then Shaul begged and stretched out his hand and said.
Real quick, so y'all know what's going on here. You go back. You go. He's done. Shaul was in front of Agrippa. This is where Shaul's been in jail, being transferred from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction, like Yahuwah said he was going to do, is to speak before Malachim and other Goyim. So at this point, he's going to see Agrippa. And just like the other people in authority, people in charge, let me hear what you got to say. All right, so right now he's pleading his case. Go ahead.
For all the things of which I am accused by the Yahudim, I consider my Nephash, Malach Agrippas, that before you I shall be justified today. Mm-hmm. Because you know all the customs well and questions that are among the Yahudim, therefore I ask of you to Shama to me as long as your Ruach is. Behold, my Darak of Kai from my youth, which I have been halak around it since then among my arm and in Jerusalem. All Yahudim know it.
Pay attention to his testimony.
Since they have known me from Barashith of the Yamim, if they are willing to testify that I Kai as a Parush, according to the most strictest sect of our work. And now I stand am and am mashpah for the hope, for the yakal of the Shabbat, which Elohim Shabbat to our aboth, to which our 12 matah hope to attain it, in serving Yahuwah always, Yum and Layla, and for the debar of this yakal, O Malak Agrippus, the Aldim are requesting for my affection.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it marvelous in your that Elohim does kum the moot? Behold, in the times I thought of speaking that I had decent things very much to cluster against the Shem of Yahushua, the Nasri. When I did in Jerusalem, and also I locked up many of the Kodash ones in the beth of the prisons, with the permission that I had received from the Rosh Kohanim, and when they were put to moot, I intended to do against them.
Yeah, y'all hear what he said he used to do to the Kodashim, those who were chosen to believe in Yahusha? That's what he used to do before he saw Yahusha. He's giving his testimony, saying stuff he did. Go ahead.
And I punished them many times. In all the beth of the synagogues, I compelled them to blasphemy.
He forced them to do that. You think about it. Someone put a gun to your head and say, listen, deny what you believe. See, here's a catch. Fear, you'll probably do it because you fear for your life. So you know what you say? Tell you what, man, yeah, I don't believe. Because out of fear. Fear will trigger you sometimes good, sometimes bad. Now, if you're really a Habda man, you don't fear for your life, you'll have them unto death. So a person who has enough Ahab will say what? Go ahead and kill me. I don't care about my life. I have Yahuwah more than I care about my life. Difference between fear and Ahab. A lot of us in here, including myself, not that I got anything going on now, no fake confession. It's talking about I like to include myself because I know what it feels like to be in certain situations in here. So no sly confession. Past times. I forgot what I was about to say. But we're talking about fear and death. But it'll come back. I guess one for you guys. Go ahead.
And being exceedingly enraged against them, I persecuted them up to the cities.
Got it. That's what I'm about to say. Difference in here. When it comes down to living Kadash, there's not enough fear to constrain you from doing it at this point. Which means, in the day, it should be a hobby that keeps you from that. But really, if you think about it, your life is on the line. Every day you get tempted, that's the adversary saying, listen, deny him. Deny him, or whatever you feel is going to happen, whether you're going to lose your job. Listen, you can work on a Shabbat, you can miss a service. End of the day, all different forms. You might not say I'm going to deny him, but it's all different forms of actions you show to deny him. So you get that nice increase on your job. Only thing is, when you're working Wednesdays, you can get off at 7:30. Wednesdays ain't a Shabbat. I know it's not. All I'm saying is that at some point in time, a dedication or a servitude might get lost. So you start to deny. So what the point is, my fear of losing the job is greater than my hob for Yahuwah. Which means, at the end of the day, I don't want to lose my job because I won't be able to eat, I'll die, I'll lose my life. Which means you don't really ahab Yahuwah to the point of moot. And before we can moot, we have to get to that point, all of us. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to moot. But he just said, I compelled them, which means I really got up in them, pause to say, you are going to blaspheme. I want you to deny him. Shaul was completely against Yahusha. Completely. I mean, this man saying, he said, I punished them many times in the synagogue. That's like some people coming here with some guns right now saying, listen, deny him. I'll tell you what, Justin, deny him because I won't even kill you. I'll kill one of your girls. Now I consider. That's for all of you, you know what I'm saying? So this is the situation he's putting these people through in a sense. I did not say he literally pulled a gun out and did that. Examples. He compelled them to. Go ahead.
I persecuted them up to the cities that crossed into the Arats.
He said, I persecuted up the city that crossed the Arats. So he said, I was exceedingly, which is above average and probably above super, enraged against them, and I persecuted them up to the cities. Preacher, kill me, I put that water bottle up there. Oh, I'm sorry. He might not be watching, might be watching. I don't know. Sorry, preacher. I persecuted them up to the cities that crossed into the land. So this is a man saying, I done went to extreme measures to go against Yahushua Mashiach. Keep going.
And it came to pass, when I went over this thing to Damascus with the authority from the Rosh Kohanim and with their commission,
Yep.
and I saw my Adon at the time of midday on the Darak, and behold, there was a clear Aur, brighter than the Shamash, that were from the Shamayim shining around about me and on those who were journeying with me. And when we had all fallen to the Adumah, I shama a call speaking to me in the Abari language, saying, Shaul, Shaul, why are you persecuting me? It is hard for you to kick against the goads. And I said, who are you, my Adon? And he said, I am Yahushua, whom you are persecuting. But come up and stand on your regal. For this purpose I have appeared to you, for I shall choose you as a Sharach and as a witness of the things which you have seen and which I shall reveal to you.
It's amazing who Yahuwah would choose. The man said, for this purpose, a man that went in and made these people compel against you, and yet this is the very man he'll choose to come back and be a Sharach unto him. And say, you're chosen for this. The very man to do this. Now, Shaul said a lot of stuff he did in ignorance, but you did it nonetheless. A lot of stuff we've done in ignorance, a lot of stuff we have not done in ignorance either. So, why I say that is very interesting because I just don't see a lot of our situations as situations that should not be recovered from, because this is a man who did some stuff, man. Like, at the end of the day, it may not be some stuff we confess to, but there's some things you say, man, listen, that's crazy you chose this man. I mean, this man was completely against you, but he chose him. So I think at some point in time, it's not unrealistic for you guys or us to believe that Yahuwah has chosen us to a degree of, I ought to change something I'm doing. I mean, this man, and we know what Shaul went on to do. We got all his, I mean, he's got a bunch of letters that instruct and teaches the Torah. So it's so much in here for us to look and say, he's done a great work. You want to know the crazy thing about that? You guys might have just missed, and now maybe you didn't. The crazy thing about this is you just never know who you'll pull off for. Because Stephen, remember we just seen Shaul was there. They laid the coats at his feet because he was the one with the authority to let this happen. The very man Stephen prayed for, you never know. It was for a reason.
That's right. That's right.
Think about it. This man had to be the one standing right there and say,
right there.
I've set this up. I'm going to, like, what the witnesses is, who knows? This could have been a situation they compelled him. But at the end of the day, they looked and said, hey, and they laid it at his feet because he was the one in charge, which means, yeah, I set this whole thing up. And guess what? The very man that was killed, he's the one to applaud for me to say forgive him.
That's
and
right.
in doing so, turn right around and be one of the very, very, very instrumental man in all the letters and the books that we read today.
That's right.
Not everyone, but that man goes through and teaches. All his letters, for you guys to know, all he's doing is teaching the Torah.
That's right.
If you want to know how things go read something he quoted from the Torah, and he explains in his letter. We don't care. We just kind of read and think he's just quoting something. He's literally preaching and explaining what that meant in his letter. That's what he's doing. Not only that, for those who question sometimes why things happen here in the Way of Yah, how can it be the Amat if we got all this stuff going on? Every time Shaul sent a letter out, it was addressing behaviors to guess who? To get people to a point of, that's the whole point we're here, to get right. He wrote in 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, what? He said, it's been said among you that there's fornication, sexual immorality. Right in the letter, this is how this goes, and this is how it's to happen. Addressing, somebody guess, none of them in Corinth is saved now. To the Galatian synagogue, all this, he wrote letters to correct behaviors. So there's going to be things happen. There's no point of going to writing a letter to a synagogue that's got to time me. It won't write you. Let me tell you about the law. I'm perfect. I know the law. You're wasting your time. But I'm here to correct. So that's why things happen. I know, I don't want to go off another tangent, but yes, that's why things happen, y'all. You know, some people say stuff, man, how y'all right? Okay, yeah. All right, guess what? We ain't right, but that's what we're here for. That's what this book's for. That's why we believe it, because we're trying to get to that point.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to be here for. Let me guess, everything you're saying we're doing wrong, you don't even believe it's wrong. Or if you do believe it's wrong, you're still doing it. So, I mean, at what point, really, what you saying? You're not smarter than Yahuwah. Now, how does this really work for us? Give me 1 Corinthians 9 and 5. I think it's 1 Corinthians 9 and 5. We learned something recently. I always tell you guys, man, I know it's hard because we get comfortable. I take it upon myself. Y'all see me in my notebook. I told myself, man, stuff I used to do in school that I really wanted to be good in, I was saying before, as being successful. I just want to really say, you know what? I want you to see that about me. So preachers, I'm taking notes. I'm listening to what he's saying. The whole, because it's serious to me, you know. But he's preaching and teaching. And not only is he preaching what he's teaching, but he's teaching what he's preaching. Uncle Boo. Inside joke, I guess. And everyone knows about that. But there's a foundation that's been laid. And just like in mathematics, only so much I can teach you if you don't know the foundation. We shouldn't have to keep going with the foundation. So certain things, when us and the sheriffs get up, we want to kind of build on that foundation, and I have to go back and relay a foundation. So that's why sometimes I get upset when the preachers say, man, how many of y'all remember I taught this or know about this? And listen, everyone learns at different levels. So this is not a slight of nobody. But there are some things where I've seen where it could be 3 or 4 times a man say something where he'll say, y'all remember learning about this? How many of y'all may get it? And it's fine if you got to. That's fine. But when it gets to the point where he says it about the same topic about 3 or 4 times, it hits my mind. I say, man, what are we? Is anyone trying to learn at this point? You know, that's and when I say that, don't take that as if you have a question or don't know. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm trying to push us or push you to a point of this. Pay attention when he's learning. Think on it. Meditate on it. Listen on it. Yes, some of us will grasp stuff a little quicker and stuff will be reiterated. But there's some things we don't have business keep doing. And like just hypothetically, if we're teaching about forgiveness right now, and the next time I preach, I bring up one of these verses, y'all remember, someone say, I kind of don't remember, or maybe I didn't catch it the first time, cool. Then I open it up, or I say, I open it up, but I teach it. Then the next time I preach, and I kind of hit it, I say, y'all remember last time I'm trying to build on that, so I ain't got to go back to I'm building on it. And okay, so all right, well maybe okay, let me do a better job. Then we get to 4 or 5 times every time I come to this, I can't build on it because I kind of got to keep laying the same foundation. You know what I'm saying? This has got to be a point of either you who is binding your mind or you just not taking it serious. And at the same time, it's the same thing. The reason he ain't got you taking it serious. But I say that to say, we learned stuff recently, and we build on it. You know, and why I say it's important. This is 1 Corinthians 9. I think this. Let me see if this is what it is first. I think try 14, Chris. I'm about to wrap it up. I'm going to come to a conclusion for you guys here. Go up there. You can start at 12. What's 12 say? Man, you start reading there. Hold on, there's not more. No, go up. I might want you to start at 5. Keep going up. Keep going up, 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 keep going up. It was 5. Just you start at 5. You start at 5. Point our key.
Is it not in our hands to have a right to lead a akuth with us, a ashah, as do also the other Shalakim, and as the Akim of the Adon, and as Kepha?
Mm-hmm.
If I only and Barnabas do not give a right to cease from doing work,
Yep.
who goes out in the army and his livelihood on him, who plants a vineyard and does not eat?
He's talking about reaping the fruit of his labor. He's talking about basically preaching, working at the bar, and eating from that. Are you guys familiar with this? A little bit. But it just, he's basically letting Corinth know, hey, at the end of the day, what we do, we eat from what we do. And it should be like that. But go ahead.
Who plants a vineyard and does not eat is pari,
Mm-hmm.
or whose ra'ah a flock and does not eat of the milk of the adah.
Yep.
Do I speak like this as the Darak of a Ben of Ish? Or does the Torah say the same too?
He said the Torah says it too. Now, here you go. Y'all want to know what the Torah means? When he about to open his verse up, pay attention. He going to teach it right here. He just said something, and now he's going to show you where he got that from. Go ahead.
For it is written in the Torah of Moshe, you shall not muzzle the ox in his threshing.
Yep.
Is Elohim concerned about the oxen?
So he went back to the Torah. So he went on to go on and say about basically we're plowing, we're working, and we should eat of our reward, right? And he said, and if you go back in the Torah and look at this, he said He said, you shouldn't muzzle the ox. And he said, when he wrote this in the Torah, he's saying, was he really concerned about the ox? Go ahead.
Or does he speak just for us? Indeed, it is written for us that
he got your answer right there. He said, was that for the ox or for us? And so like I told y'all before, there's a lot of stuff written in the Torah. It's not necessarily what you think it's for. It's for a whole different purpose. And he just let them know, really, it wasn't. Back then, it's for the ox. But he looked at this is really more written for us. That's going to be coming to play for them. He's preaching at the bar. Go ahead.
That he who plows should plow in your call.
Yep.
And the thresher should return in your call to take his share in your call.
Yep. That's good right there. Give me Ul Allah Shamu 23. I'll wrap you up here in a second. Hold on for me. Give me a few more minutes. I ain't gonna lie to you. I missed that power. The Sheriff Boss, I gotta have you. Woo, I missed that power. See, if Sheriff Boss wasn't here and Big Uncle wasn't here, man, listen, I wouldn't even care. Like, man, I'm about to preach for 3.5 hours. Last time y'all was going, Boss, I preached about 2.5 hours. I didn't even care. I said, man, I said, it don't even matter. I don't care if they sleep or not. I said, I'm just going. I said, I'm just keep on. I just keep on preaching. Like when I used to drive my cargo van, I just drive. I deliver, just keep driving. I don't know where I'm going. I drive to the ocean to come on back. Listen, I'm just gonna keep on going, man. So everything in its time. Everything in its time. You know what I'm saying? Like it might be a trip. Sheriff Boss, I gotta go out of town. We can have a little fun. Mega conference number 3. Mega conference number 3. No, I'm joking. All the fun, I'm just joking. Making it funny. Trying to wake y'all up a little bit. Go ahead.
You should not bear a false report. Do not join your hand with a Rosha one to be a malicious witness. You should not follow after many ones to do Rosha, nor shall you testify in a dispute so as to turn aside after a multitude in order to pervert Sadah.
Yep.
Nor shall you favor a poor Ish in his dispute. If you meet your enemy's ox or his kamar wandering away, you shall surely return it to him. If you see the kamar of one who hates you reclining under its load, you shall refrain from leaving it to him.
Yep.
You shall surely release it with him.
Y'all remember this? We had just taught this not too long ago. Do y'all remember? It's okay. I'm not.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't trying to condemn y'all. Do y'all remember this? So he said, if you see the donkey of one who hates you reclining under its load, you shall refrain from leaving it to him. You shall surely release it to him. Then we learn, if you went to Matthew the 11th chapter, by the 20th verse, Yahushua said, come all to me that are what? Heavy laden. And then if you look at, I think it's the 15th chapter of the book of Yuchanan, he wanted to say they hated me without a cause. Which means, guess what? We're enemies at this point. We're adversaries. Kind of like Shaul. I say Shaul. Good. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Forgive me if I didn't. But I said it to say, we learned at the time that Yahushua looked at us as enemies. Y'all remember this? I might make this foundation. We build on this foundation. Y'all remember? We did get, all right, we do Matthew. So he said, if you see a donkey, one who hates you reclining on his load, you should refrain from leaving it to him. So he said, if you see one of your enemies. So we were learning that basically, I don't like Lee, hypothetically. I see Lee's ox in a ditch. I go get this ditch from him. Now, I could say it's my enemy, man, bump Lee, because I don't get along with him anyways. I go get this ox for him. Guess what this does? Lee's got to kind of consider, man, that's tight, because we don't like each other. For him to do that, guess what that does? Kind of lowers a little bit of attention. So you ain't going to believe it. When Yahushua looked and said, come on to me who are all heavy laden, which will be considered to an ox. Right? We know that when an ox having a lot on a burden, I think, keep going. He said, yeah, one who hates to recline under its load, which means if I'm reclining in my load, I'm laying, this is a heavy load. Yahushua said, well, look, come to me. He said, because you got a heavy load on you, I can take that burden off of you. Even though you hate me, I can take it off you for you, because guess what? This is what the law said to do. Why is that important in a sense? Because give me Matthew the 5th chapter, about the 44th verse, I think it is, and I'm really not sure. It's the 5th chapter is a long one, so I don't want to hold you up trying to find it, but I think it's 44th verse, around there. There you go. Go ahead. Go up one. Go up to 33. I love when he say, but I say. Go ahead.
You have Shammah that it was said, you shall Ahab your Reah and hate your enemy. Yet I say to you, Ahab your enemies, Barak them who are you, do tube to those who hate you, Halal for those who hurt you and pursue you.
He said, do tube to those that hate you, right? So what would that be when I go get that ox from my enemy? He hates me, what I just do for him? Tour. That's why the man, listen, that whole 5th chapter I told y'all when I did get preached in the mega conference, we touched on that a little bit. There's a whole lot of in that 5th chapter when he said, think that I come to destroy the law. Because he let them know it wasn't about doing with the law, but he said that because he had to preface the statement. Let them know, I'm about to say some things. I know y'all going to jump all over this. What? It don't say that. Where you get that from? There's a lot of, it says this, but I say. The parts where he says, but I say unto you, is a whole lot of teaching you what the law was meant for, how it works. Not that I'm doing away with it. Because people say, well, you said it says to curse your enemies. He said, but if you really look at the law, he said, if you look at what I say, love them and do to them, because if you really look at the law, that's really what you're doing. That's really what you're doing. And see, how that's so important to us is because, like I said before, if you look at Shaul, he was an enemy to the Mashiach. And you know what he referred to himself as? In that 1 Corinthians 9 chapter? Remember I said when he was talking about what he had the power to do? He said, thou shalt not muzzle the ox. He was talking about himself. Shaul was an ox. And Yahushua saw him and did what? And even though he's against him, took that burden off of him and let him be on, turned it from an enemy to a, what's the other word for enemy? The non-enemy. What's the opposite of enemy? Ally. From an adversary to an ally. Just like the law had told him to do. And if you remember too, when we read that 26th chapter, he had told him, when Yahushua came to him, do you remember what he said to him? Okay. It's hard to kick against the pricks. Who's going to be kicking against the pricks? An ox. An ox, that's a device they put so when an ox is plowing, when he kicked that prick, it keep him going forward. Yahushua let him know you're kicking against, but you're making it really hard. But in other words, you have a pretty big burden on you. You got to, you're really going against, which makes this a lot harder for you. So at the end of the day, how about I just take that burden off of you real quick? And it all started from what? I don't know. A man named Stephen decided to say, you know what, man, forgive him. Forgive him. Started from a man, Yahushua said, man, forgive him. All this forgiveness, all this ahab, to get us to a point where we have a very instrumental writer to come down and say, at the end of the day, this man saw his enemy's ox in the ditch. Because remember, Shaul was for the Parashim. Parashim had a lot of problems with Yahushua. Made a lot of enemies, or Yahushua had made a lot of enemies with Parashim. Looked at, hey, Parashim, your ox got a lot going on, but how about I just bring him to you? How about I take that burden off him? Come right back to fulfill the law. But all of this, at the end of the day, is done for what? So we can get saved. All of this was done for this man to show, you know what? There's a lot of ahab I had to do for you guys to make it in. There's a lot of ahab given on my end, and I just really want you guys to reciprocate it back. Because really, I could have killed Shaul off. I could have killed you guys. Listen, I don't need to bring that ox back. I mean, but it's written, and it was written all the way back then for where we're at today. Just like all the stuff I say in Romans 15:4, all that was written back then for today. Because all of us have become enemies to this man. And yet the man says, arm straight and say, man, listen, man, I take that load off if you come my way. I know you hate me, but I take that load off. And maybe if I take that load off for you, you'll hide me. Because you don't fear me at this point. You lost your fear. So maybe if I take this load off, maybe it ain't about you fearing me. It may you just hide me. I am definitely not saying at the end of the day, do not fear Sheol. I want to make this clear. I am not preaching there's no Sheol. I'm not preaching if there wasn't a Sheol that I was serviceman. I'm not preaching like that. I am preaching that at the end of the day, you should be serviceman out of Ahab. You should have transitioned. And really at the end of the day, that there's a fear there. But like I said, it's been, that line has been crossed. That habitual line stepping. Ain't nothing happened yet. Ain't nothing happened yet. I'm out the line. Ain't nothing happened yet. Man, I feel bad though. Okay, but how do I get back from every time the same temptation takes hold of me, how do I break that? Because before what kept you for that little bit of time, however the space was, whether it's a day, 2 days, a year, a couple of years, there was a fear there. But once you broke it, that fear no longer holds you back. Because guess what? I ain't scared no more. So now when I get tempted, guess what? It really ain't been holding me back. I mean, really, I ain't scared. So there has to be something to say, I shouldn't be doing this. And it should be Ahab. That's the strongest one. It's strong. He said the greatest of these commandments were what? Ahab what? Ahab who? With all your what? He didn't say the greatest one is to fear me with all your heart. He said Ahab, because Ahab, that's everlasting. That don't go away. He said it's going to be forever. We done proven you'll break fear. I've been there before. Again, we're going to get that reverence back. I can assure you. There's going to be fear. We're going to get that back. So just to wrap it up, I'll show you. We're going to get that fear back. I can assure you. So I'm not preaching against it. Please don't think I am. Aleph Malakim, we'll wrap it up here. Aleph Malakim, which is 1 Kings, for those watching in. Chapter 2. Might be about verse 5. I should have put a 1 there to save space. Now that I learned that, I'll do better next time. I guarantee I won't put that. I'm going to put a 1 there. That'll show you why I know I can turn. Sons of thunder. Your other brother left me hanging. Malcolm left me hanging. Dexter, ready to tear the synagogue down, left me hanging. Just me and my broadcast partner. Our broadcast partner said he don't talk basketball with me no more. I said the Nuggets were going to sweep Miami, and they beat them 4-1, and I don't know none I'm talking about. Come on back to the show, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I want to talk ball. I apologize. I was wrong. Take me back, man. Aleph Malakim, and this is Dawood giving his sons, giving Shalomah his last commandments, as you say, because Dawood was about to pass away. And he's talking to Shalomah right here. Go ahead.
And you know that Joab, the ben of Zeruiah, did to me what he did to the 2 commanders of the armies of Yasharal, to Abner, the ben of Ner, and to Amasa, the ben of Jether, whom he killed. He also shed the dam of war in Shalom.
Yep.
And he put the dam of war on his belt that was about his waist, and on the sandals that were on his regal.
Yep.
So act according to your chakmah, and do not let his gray hair go down to Sheol in Shalom.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
But show kindness to the Bani of Brasilia, the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table.
Yep.
For so they came to me when I fled from Absalom, your Ak.
Yep.
Behold, there is with you Shimei.
You remember this guy? Yeah. 2 Samuel 16. It's the man who cursed him. Go ahead.
The ben of Gerah.
And he said, let him do it. Remember he said, let it go. It's fine. Perhaps Yahuwah had him do it. Go ahead.
Ooh. The Benjamite of Bakrim. Now it was he who all-eyed me with a violent all-eye. On the Yom I went to Machaneyim. But when he came down to meet me at the Yarden, I shouted to him by Yahuwah, saying, I shall not put you to moot with the sword. Mm-hmm. Now therefore, do not let him go unpunished, for you are a Chakmah Ish, and you shall know what you shall do to him, and you shall bring his gray hair down to Sheol with Dam.
See that? Man was, quote unquote, forgiven per se. Say, man, you know what? Let him do what he do, I'm going to let him live. But amazingly, as time went by, before he moved, he had space. All I can conclude from this is you had time, you had space, but now judgment's come. See, Yahushua been on the scene, and Yahuwah's been very long suffering with all of us, and has given us space. Don't let it be when judgment comes that, you just weren't chosen. You just weren't elected. Because when he does come back, there's going to be that fear again. It's going to be that what they call reverence. It's going to be there. And he said when he comes back, in Kazoo in the first chapter, he said, it's going to be wailing when I come back. Just like that child. All right, now, I told you stop. Now, I'm trying to be long-suffering to get you to catch and understand. But once I got this seat to come down for judgment, that space is over with. So when this man get back, don't find yourself in a situation all of a sudden now where, man, that man gave me all that time. Because now, just as quick as Shimei probably looked at and said, okay, man, let me curse him out. And he may even looked at, man, you know what, I was wrong for that. And just at the end of the day, right when it comes down to it, guess what? I gave you space. It just ain't work out for you. All of us have got a lot of space right now. Don't be the one where it don't work out for. That's why I want to let you know, as much he went through all this, and we get this point to hide him and really get a genuine hide for him, don't let the door close up on you. Like Kazun, that 22nd chapter, about the 12th verse, 11th verse, Yochanan wrote, he said, man, to him that is not Sadiq, he said, stay filthy, let him stay that way. Because at this point, game over. Game over at this point. It's too late now to say, you know what? I really think I have you now. Like when that man come out them clouds, hey, you know what? Yahuwah, I was just thinking, man, I have you. I really have a genuine hive for you. At this point, nah, it's over. You had space. We all of us had this space. So that's what I say. It's a balance. But at this point, let's get this a hive. I just want you guys to kind of see for Shaul, there was a lot that went into play for him to be the man he was. I wanted y'all to see that from the Torah, from the Ul-al-ha-shemut, that we learned, and we learned this from just recently about that, about the ox. That's why I want to kind of bring it up and build on that. All that was done, and you're looking for one man who was compared to an ox, a preacher compared to an ox, and look and say, man, you was completely against me. But I went through all of this just to get you on my side. And Yahuwah went through a whole lot of all this teaching, all this, for all of us to get on his side. I don't know how much longer time it's going to be for any of us, but I guess I just want to say, man, we have got to get a genuine hive. I ain't going to hold y'all. I appreciate you guys. And I'm not going to ask you guys understood or not, 'cause I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. I know last time I said, I understood it. I see y'all clapping. I'm not what you clapping. So I know when I say that, I don't want y'all to feel like, because I've been there, you can't be like, man, you know what? I'm waiting for a preacher before you clap. So we'll wait for a preacher to come back. If he saw, we'll wait. So you guys do not have to clap right now. But I do applaud you guys got understanding, and I really applaud it sparked something to get you guys to a point of, you know what? This man's done way too much for me not to have him. You know what I'm saying? He's done way too much. The man sent his Ben down here, and he gave that judgment to him. It's the same man who told him, he said, I came to save lives now. I came to save lives. When they wanted to burn people with fire, he said, I came to save lives now. Abarim, the 10th chapter, about the 26th verse, he said, though, it's going to be some fiery indignation, fear of a fiery indignation, because he's coming down with that same fire. Sheol is going to be what they call, well, I didn't say hellfire, but Sheol fire, the lake of fire Kazun talks about. So it's going to be some fire raining down. At this point, he's been very long suffering. And the same man that said, I want to get these people saved, is the same man when he comes back here going to say, guess what? Guess what? Burn it down. Guess what? Shalom, don't let him go. Don't let him go. Man, what did it say? Man, I'm bad at quote. Believe it or not, I am a horrible quoter when it comes to this book. What did he say to him? He said, you shall bring his gray hair down to Sheol with blood. You know what's amazing? Yahuwah sent his Ben down here to save. Yochanan 3:16, right? Can't quote it, but we know what it says. Sent him down here to save. Guess what? Some space went by, time went by. Now Yahuwah tells them, guess what? Don't let them go. You shall bring their gray hair down to Sheol. So at first, yeah, I came to save, definitely, all day long. Don't run it down. But now when you go back down, they don't get no more passes. Just like Daud, father to Shalom. It's cool. Let him slide for right now. All right, guess what? Time went by. No pass. So just consider you guys. I have you guys. I really want to keep talking. I do. I ain't gonna lie. I want to just keep on talking. Whew. Ahav Shalom. Appreciate you.
So y'all give him another hand clap. All right. To the bar. That's right, make you consider, you know? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, he talked about it's hard to kick against the prick. You know, you have your burdens. Well, a lot of times, you know, we all hold different burdens, you know. And when you said that, it's kind of like the thing we think we fighting for to do good be the thing that's holding us back. We think that this it. But now he come and change and say, nah, bro, that ain't it. That ain't it. I think about all the time. I used to be at the church, singing in the choir, vacation Bible school, but thinking I was doing good, man. On my way, I want to be a pastor, try to help people. Man, you ain't ready, bro. You ain't ready. But when he turn and give you a mind and say, you know what, this it. Now you ready to roll. I appreciated the ball. A lot of us got burdens, still holding on to burdens, but he can't save you until you let it go. And one part of that, it starts with confession. When confession, you think you releasing something, for other people to see. Really, it's a lot of stuff you hold within that you hold and it hold you down, because like, who know, who gonna come find out, who gonna do this, and that becomes a burden. And it's like, man, you know what? Keep holding on to your burden. There's nothing I can do. I can't release it if you don't want to release it. But I just thank the Most High, man. If y'all don't like what that say, I know y'all listen to Erykah Badu. Bad lady. You gonna miss your bus. You cannot hurry up because you got too much stuff. When they see you coming, they gonna take out running. From you, it's true. Oh yes, they do. That's right. The bad lady, boy. You got too much stuff, man. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. I ain't got time for that. Same thing, Mr. Yahuwah, man. I appreciate the word, man. 100%, boy. A lot of stuff we hold on to, the man can't help you. He can't help you. Man, listen. The book of Yahushua, it states, it says you cannot serve Yahuwah because he is Kadash. You can't serve him. Imagine you get to a point where it say you can't, because this man, he has a perfect way. It's like you can't serve him unless you lay down what you think you holding on to. That's when you'll be able to serve him. And I thank the Most High for it, man. You ready to lay it down. Whatever it is, you got to be able to let it go. Whatever it is, you got to be able to let it go. Yep, let it go. Yep, let it go. 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 And the thing about this way, this is why I know you got to be perfect. This is why I know you got to be perfect. The thing about this way is we got to survive right here in the rocks. We got to survive. The only days we got to work is what day? It can't be Wednesday after 7:30. Can't be Shabbat Layla. Can't be on the Shabbat. And we got muhars. We don't know what days it'll fall on. So you got to think, all our money has to be made in what? The other days. So do you know how persistent you have to be, and creative, and persuasive? Because you got to tell people now, this is what I do, and I can't do nothing outside of this. If you can work with me, you will get a good worker. That's why you can't have no slack in what you do. When you are a subpar worker in this way, it won't work. It can't work. Because you'll get somebody to work with your days, but then you work like an idiot. It can't work. But when you walk in right, guess what? I got to work with your days. I got to work with this guy. I got to work with him. But if you ain't going to do it, man, get out of here, man. You and your days. You going to hell anyway. No, you ain't saved. Man, look, I make it tough on him. I said, man, listen, I ain't working. I guarantee, and the person you find ain't going to do a better job than me. Well, we'll find them. I said, well, you ain't going to find them. Because I am he. That's what you got to go tell them. If y'all going to get fired next week, guess what? It ain't my fault. But I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta carry yourself in a certain way when you walk in this way. Because we got to walk circumspect anyway. A lot of stuff we just can't do. We don't have that marginal error. You get what I'm saying? And so what he said was true, man. You can't give the prick. And the person, another thing he said that was key, the person that says, forgive you, that was tough right there. A lot of us are bad with forgiveness. Imagine somebody cursing you and getting ready to kill you and you saying, forgive them. That's tough, man. You got to be to a certain level, certain expectation. Y'all stand up. Come on, stand up. Hey, I'll talk. Yes. Right. Hardball of Shara, all of us. Standing. That's right. Yoshi got that mic, she ready to sing. Go ahead, Yoshi, break out with the selection. What selection you gonna sing, boy? Yoshi break out, what she break out? You just start going, man. Ooh.
Everybody sitting there hob, and Austin said he hobbs everybody.
I hob you too, Austin. That's right. Them guys who went scuba diving? Snorkeling? Unforgivable. Unforgivable, bro. Man, we gotta stay on the shores. Man, cut us down. Water Beach. Them boys out here eating bacon, pork bacon. Man, that was a thick piece of country pork bacon. And that piece of ham that was sitting on that plate, man, I don't care what they say. I don't care what you say. That pork, I know pork. That slab was sitting on that thing, man. That was old Denny's slab. Y'all know about Denny's, boy. That was that Denny's ham, boy. Goodness, boy. It's all good, though. Every man got to give an account. Everybody. Tell you that. Nah, but I miss him. Yoshi, Chanel has her hand up. She got to run that by you first. You got to run that by Yoshi first. You don't speak without a turn here. Yoshi, you approve that, Yoshi?
My Ra'ah had a message for Justin. His message was he made sure that Uncle Rico would be there with him. He made sure that Uncle Rico would be there with him.
All right. Who Uncle Rico is? Oh, Uncle Rico. Oh, the man slapping Jaheed, Uncle Rico? Hey, man, I don't know, man. We'll hobby, you know. Listen, I don't want to take that message, you know. Whatever it tend to get, that's what it is. Uncle Rico. I don't know what it is. I don't know, man. But all right, let's pull out. Most HaKadosh Abba, the Elohim, Abraham, Yasakat, and Yaakov. We say I do for all things, most of all for the debar that have been spoken on this later. We ask not to fall on deaf ears, but of the saving of the law. We ask you to continue to be with us henceforth and forevermore. We say how do for all things that you have given us. We say how do for all things that you have taken away from us. We ask that if this shall be our last last laid on this arise, we ask that we may be with you in the alarm and alarm. We ask that you continue to be with those that are abroad, be with our Ra'ah, be with our Mishpachah overseas, be with our out-of-town members, be with those Yalits, be with anybody that's going through certain situations in their life that's looking for a Yasha, that's looking for a deliverer. Most of us give us the strength to lay down our burdens. All these things we ask you, being Yahushua Mashiach we Palau. And as all say, Amen. I'm laughing at you, dude. Oh, Eric, look at the white shoes. Look at the white shoes. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, boy. Man, always Coca-Cola, man. Yeah. I ran over there cause Deuce ran at me. Come on, y'all. Y'all say we gotta say Ra Harb the little Beni in Mexico. Y'all not speak Spanish?
Kinda. A little bit.
All right, repeat after me. Los cones
Los cones
de
de
Venoso.
Venusia.
Tu crees
Tu crees
de Oaxaca.
de Oaxaca.
Difion.
Difion.
Si.
Si.
Y'all know what I said?
No.
I don't know what I said. Let's go. Uno, dos, tres. Let's go. The little children. Ooh. Are the children of the congregation. Ooh. Red and yellow, black and white. They are precious in the sight. The little children of the congregation. Woo! Tell them come home. From Mexico, come home.
Buenas noches.
Buenos noches.
You don't even know what to say.
Buenos dias. Buenos noches.
Yeah, J Rich, YG's the movement. Know that. We're raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Yo. Either it's get rich or live trying. Maintain my ways, obey and live righteous. Cause this life, it'll zip by us. So I'm here in one state with only one goal. Sip's finest, that's to get the Ruach inside us. And keep my lamp on, lit shining similar to big diamonds. I wanna fall like the Clinton Tigers. At the same time, I know I can't OD, limb bias. So I keep things in the right position. I need y'all to be my shelter, he's my pavilion. Take the deed to my body, please sign a seal. And here's the key, you can come move inside this building. Pause, in case you thought we on that funny stuff. Had to cut away all the extra fat like a tummy tuck. And let the inner man get strong, cutting buffs. So the plan is to still a stand, I ain't done enough. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Yo, I got away from milk, meat got me extra solid. And you can take that to the bank, direct deposit. I put the work in, respect the process. Where can I go from this to Yahuwah? Ain't no second option. The Shalakim said that the days are old. No other Elohim that can say they sold. I'm just an artist crying out, yo, who should pave the road? That's the lane who took half a man and he made me whole. No percentage, so I go the distance. Me without him is like Vincent Timms in the coat in winter. Over in Denver in the cold December. Or trying to eat a frozen dinner with no oven to slow December. A broken fender on a Lamborghini. Or trying to watch a show on a damaged TV. It look weird. Y'all secure my stance came in breezy. Plan B is to get plan A completed. Look weird. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. I'm gone. Yeah, J Rich, YG's the movement. Know that. We're raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve y'all, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. take up plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Yo, either it's get rich or live trying. Maintain my ways, obey and live righteous. Cause this life, it'll zip by us. So I'm here in one state with only one goal, Zip's finest. That's to get the Ruach insiders and keep my lamp on, lit shining similar to big diamonds. I wanna ball like the Clem Tigers. At the same time, I know I can't OD, limb bias. So I keep things in the right position. I need Yah to be my shelter, he's my pavilion. Take the deed to my body, please sign and seal it. And here's the key, you can come move inside this building. Pause, in case you thought we on that funny stuff. Had to cut away all the extra fat like a tummy tuck. And let the inner man get strong, cutting buffs. So the plan is to still a stand, I ain't done enough. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that? Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Yo, I got away from milk, meat got me extra solid. And you can take that to the bank, direct deposit. I put the work in, respect the process. Where can I go from this to Yahuwah? Ain't no second option. The Shalakim said that the days are old. No other Elohim that can say they sold. I'm just an artist crying out, who should pave the road? That's the lane who took half a man and he made me whole. No percentage, so I go the distance. Me without him is like Vincent Timms in the cold and winter. Over in Denver in the cold December. Or trying to eat a frozen dinner with no oven to stove to simmer. A broken fender on a Lamborghini. Or trying to watch a show on a damaged TV and look weird. Y'all secure my stance, came in breezy. Plan B is to get plan A completed. Look weird. Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that? Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. What's your plan B? Gotta make plan A work. I'm gone. Yeah, J Rich, YG is the movement. Know that? We're raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation first. My plan B, that's to make sure plan A work. Know that? Raising standards, they raise the skirts. Take a plan B so they don't take on birth. My plan A, serve Yah, keep salvation